But West Ham United's season has been full of promise, and to top it off, a cup final appearance would be more than welcome. Fortunes always hiding. The West Ham fans are blowing the bubbles. They love their bowling ground. Here they are, though. And they've made this something of a stronghold this season. Few teams have come here and found it easy. The Manchester United and Brentford won. As the players of Leeds United and West Ham, the match officials, the team officials, take the knee to applause from the fans in the battle against racism. And off we go. Leeds United, all in white, kicking from right to left in this first half, with a terrible record in the FA Cup in recent years. Out in round 3 in the last 4 to the likes of Newport and Queen's Park Rangers and Arsenal. More creditably, they put up a good display in 1920 but went out. But last season I was there at Crawley Tower and they weren't even second best. To be honest, they didn't even show up, and they were well beaten. It was a dismal day in the history of this famous club. West Ham looked for Lanzini, who had 2 superb goals against Crystal Palace. One brilliant goal when he controlled it and hammered it into the back of the net. And a brilliant goal against Manchester City, I seem to remember, not so long ago. And Leeds United in possession now with young Leo Hilda. You might remember his dad, Jan Olaf, who played at Nottingham Forest. And Llorente. That's a decent ball away to Junior Firpo. There's 2 up front. James was there, so too young Greenwood. Firpo, who's been shaky in the Premier League this season, but it's a bit of a front foot start for Leeds, Matt.
Yes, positive early touches for Hilda. He'll certainly relish that. There's a responsibility on those senior players as well. You've got that young spine of a team that we've talked about. They need help from those seniors. It is a tough place to come and play. Talk about those West Ham fans. They have high expectations of their own team, but they do make it an intimidating place to come and play. There's a big pressure on those young players.
You saw a cutaway there of Lewis Bate wearing 26, the 19-year-old midfield player. The style of play is compared by some at least to Clarence Seedorf. That's a big tag to fill. That's a long ball away and out of play, but he's coming along, Lewis Bates. He's played a couple of Football League trophy matches this season against Oldham and Salford. He scored against them, and this is his first team debut. Don't have too much weight on it.
Yeah, good play from the West Ham back line as well, as that ball is cut inside. Really good senior discipline. You move up, just go half the distance that the ball travels, and you'll find the forwards going the other way.
Both managers have used youngsters in their squads this season. West Ham have 3 on the bench. Choco Flex, he's been involved in first team games in the Premier League this season in the squad. So too is Ajibola Lese and Jamal Baptiste. And Ryan Fredericks will take the throw. His last league start was back in April. Looks for Antonia. The news of his new contract, mixed reaction on social media from West Ham fans, you know, because some of them were saying he's had a brilliant season, he's had a brilliant 18 months, but a 3-year deal at 100 grand a week for a 31-year-old.
Yes, but unfortunately he will have had those offers somewhere else as well, and that's the choice that you make. Yeah, you gamble if you want to, but guaranteeing goals in the Premier League is not easy, and it is also very, very expensive. So sometimes far better to stick than twist.
Here's Declan Rice driving on as he loves to do, and out to young Ben Johnson, who gets forward willingly on that left-hand side and whips in the cross that's eased away at the heart of the defence by Robin Koch, the German who missed such a long period of the season, 4 months with osteitis.
Love that from Johnson. Positive early on. You get a chance in a wide area. Go and run it to full-back. Just puts a bit of doubt in his mind. Are you going to run me on the outside? You're going to overlap all day.
David Moyes had a few doubts about him defensively at Crystal Palace because he had a yellow card in the first half, and he substituted him at half-time and brought on Masuaku, who subsequently picked up a yellow card and really struggled in that game. And they brought in young Elise, who's on fire at the moment for Crystal Palace. Had a great cut tie yesterday against Millwall. Here's Bowen, who's had a great run for West Ham United and shoots wide. And this is a player, Matt, who has played 90 minutes in their last 8 games. Throughout that busy Christmas period, he was involved in every minute. Staggering, really.
I mean, he looks like he's got that unbelievable athleticism. You see here, that little yard of pace, entitled to shoot from there as well. great for David Moyes when you've got players like that just immediately stick the name down. Souček obviously the same, similar type, just put them down, you know exactly what you're getting from them. It's been a great signing, Bowen. You can pick those gems up from the Championship, massive help to you as a Premier League squad.
They're also linked with the current Hull City starlet in Lewis Potter, who I saw play yesterday against your old mob Everton, and he's a good young player, isn't he?
Yeah, very good. Saw him at Cardiff probably about a month ago in a game that Hull won and were very good in. He played about 4 positions on the night, but just had a resilience about him. Not the most physical, great pace. And Bowen has certainly got those qualities and shown they're adaptable too.
Lots of names being bandied about at the moment. Boubacar Kamara, young Marseille central midfield player, is linked with West Ham. Diallo, Paris Saint-Germain, left back can play centre back's another one, and there were rumours linking them with a bid for Nat Phillips of Liverpool, and according to West Ham social media, the fans were bemoaning the fact they might not have offered enough, but you never know what truth in these rumours. One thing I think they might try and do is button down Alphonse Areola, who's come in today. His contract is up at Paris Saint-Germain this summer, I believe, and if they want to bring loan players in, they might have to sign him permanently. Wouldn't cost that much. He's such a dependable goalkeeper over the years.
Yeah, very good. I think obviously the way they've been in the Premier League with that possibility of a European campaign might dictate summer spending. Just know the January transfer window, if you're buying, tends to be expensive.
James to Firpo. The box ball had too much pace on it for Click, who got up from the midfield position, the Polish international, good player. Junior Firpo, been in and out, hasn't he? Struggled a wee bit.
Difficult. It's difficult transition, and it's difficult when you don't play every week as well to get the pace, and then every time you go in you feel like you're under that bit more pressure to really produce something, to really put a question in your coach's mind, and it's difficult for players at times when it's like that.
Antonio, bullish run from him again. Good challenge on him though, that won the ball back for Leeds United, flicked round the corner by James, who's so fleet of foot. They expected him maybe to score more goals than he has done since the move from Manchester United. Only has a couple. Dawson, in a second spring to his career. Craig Dawson in his early 30s now, but he's done so well since joining from Watford. Reached the quarter-final of this competition back in 2015, beaten by Aston Villa at that stage. Here's Antonio. It's a clever piece of football by Lanzini, and away it goes then towards Ryan Fredericks. High loft on the cross, and gathered by Meslier, who is entrusted by Bielsa, whatever competition it is, that's his goalkeeper.
Yeah, sometimes you have to do that to keep them happy, and I think it's the right thing as well to bud them at times. Saw Butland make that horrible mistake yesterday for Palace, so it can sometimes work against you as well, but yeah, he did well there with a floaty cross from Fredericks, who'd broken forward really well. They're certainly going to have to track him, Leeds, because he will join in at will from this right-hand side.
Here's Ayling. You often see a great deal of rotation about Leeds United as the cross comes in looking for James. Harrison, for example, is operating more on the right than on his usual left today, but he will float around, they rotate, they go. You can't really button them down, can you, into specific positions, Leeds?
No, it's good. It tests your communication as a team. There's a slightly misplaced pass, this high press that they do, and this is the benefit you get from it.
You're talking about communication, there wasn't much there with Diop, was there? Here's Leeds United, can they profit? And the shot was easily blocked in the end by Declan Rice, who does plug those gaps. Mistake by Diop. Saw a lot of him play in French football with Toulouse, Matt. I thought he'd do better in England than he has done. He's only really in the side at the moment. He's Kurt Zouma is out long time injured. He's played the last 6, but maybe hasn't lived up to his potential he had early on at Toulouse.
Such a good development league as well. It's such a physical league, that top French league. Generally the players are fine. Occasional one, just to play the glut of games that we have as well. That's the other thing they have to do, the intensity of every single game. Very few free rides are there. That's the thing that I think that a lot of the foreign players are sometimes surprised by, the intensity of every game, the intensity of the 90 minutes of every game as well.
Here's Dawson, long in the tooth, very experienced of course. Good cricketer as well. What he made of England's performance in getting the draw in Australia overnight. Touched off by Vlasic to Rice. Bowen's on the edge of the penalty. I think that went out of play. There is VAR here. In comes the cross. Put it away. Bowen off the line. First chance of the game comes to West Ham United, and Luke Ayling cleared it off the goal line.
Doesn't quite catch it. It is interesting. They stop Leeds. Can't stop. VAR will sort that one out for you. Deflection behind for the corner. He knows he should do better. It falls really nicely for him.
If it had gone to VAR, would it have been I think it would have been disallowed because the ball seemed to go out of play. But look at that in the middle. They did completely stop.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can't do that. It's a poor defensive header that falls for Bowen. He just doesn't catch it. And then we see the deflection from the shot.
Good pressure from West Ham United. He thought it was in. Here comes the corner. First of the game. Should be Melié's, and is. And goalkeeper in the Leeds United net. 21 years of age. Turns 22 in March. That's a good ball out of defence. Lanzini. Sees the run from midfielder Souček. Just a little dip in form, Souček, in the early weeks of December when they did go off the ball, West Ham United. And they were beaten away at Arsenal and away at Tottenham in the League Cup. And here against Southampton. He's back on form now, though.
Yeah, Leeds look like they've come to play. Certainly been happy to counter-attack. The trick in the box from Greenwood, not necessarily sure the back heel would have been appreciated by his coach, but the run inside and the pass that he received certainly would have been.
Played in that game at Crawley last season, did at Greenwood. Antonio's lost possession, but a free kick goes against Leeds. Miguel Antonio back amongst the goals recently with 2 in his last 2 after a lean spell. Never been a prolific goal scorer, you know. He has 106 goals actually now in his career. He's a 1 in 4 man because he's a wide forward, really, or has been for most of his career, Matt.
I think the other thing that makes them a standout, and whether they're worth the money you can always argue, but to have someone who can lead a line as a single striker and occupy 2 and sometimes 3 centre-backs, that's a huge strength because it does allow your other players to come into it.
Bowen, Frederick's outside. Vlasic, he's done well in the end. Antonio back to the right foot. Dipping, a little bit late. Took a deflection.
Yeah, that gave it the dip, didn't it? The deflection. Yeah, just pausing there. So the pointing case really that he will have these opportunities, but others will benefit and will score because of his efforts. That's a tough one for a goalkeeper. You see that deflection, you're set, but the dip on it, that's the panic because you're not taking off there. Happy to see that one fly over the bar.
Bowen will take the corner. West Ham on top, pressure on Leeds in these opening 13 minutes. Difficult that one for Meslier, had to readjust. Ladder away by James, didn't get any yardage. Here's Johnson. He's got a couple of goals at first team level. Now Bowen, oh, that's a good cross in. Dangerous cross, Meslier saw it coming. Souček couldn't quite get there to challenge. Quality of their delivery in from wide positions at Palace last week and again at Watford the game before was absolutely tip-top.
Yeah, Melié's been good though under that high ball. That's 3 he's taken now and 1 he's punched. Made the right decision each time. Looked very comfortable doing so.
Mentioned the youngsters on the West Ham bench. Leeds United have a fair few as well. Crescencio Somerville is there, Cody Drammer, Liam McCarran, Jack Jenkins and Chris Moore, all on that Leeds United bench. Stuart Atwell, the referee, gives the decision West Ham's way. And a clip on Bowen there. Areola, his 6th loan spell from PSG, where he was often the scapegoat when they brought in bigger names. Here's James. Didn't get the cross right. Maybe misread the situation in a way by Ben Johnson.
He's frustrated, but Greenwood, to his credit, gambled. You go one or the other. You go far to come near post, and we see good run, that pace, that fleet-footedness that you talk about, Jonathan. And then look at Greenwood, he pulls away, good play, and then get across your front man. That's fine. You gamble as a forward. Maybe just a little lack of understanding in time. That relationship might grow. That's fine, though.
Had 13 minutes of Premier League action this season against Arsenal. Sam Greenwood played in the League Cup tie away at Arsenal as well. With 7 goals in Premier League 2, which is for under 23s.
Yeah, nominally, very rarely gets to that sort of age bracket, though. Tends to be more of an under-19 league, really. It certainly doesn't replicate the physicality that's required at this level.
Is it as good as the old football combination used to be for the development of players, Matt?
No, it's such a different stage now. I played in that football combination, and you played at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon, and you'd have old pros barking at you and playing against you, and I thought it was really good to get the tempo of exactly what was required as a pro, the way that the week would work out. Now those under-23 games can be Monday afternoons and Friday lunchtimes, and it's certainly a different stage.
Good turn. Lanzini in fine form. Pass had too much weight on it for Bowen. We've had 16 minutes. West Ham United have had the opportunities. Areola hasn't had a save to make, the French international.
I think David Moyes might just be a little bit frustrated. I think he'd have wanted a better tempo. There'd have been an expectation from him that his side could be really on the front foot here, really dominating in terms of possession territorially. They haven't necessarily done that. They've looked comfortable, they're absolutely fine, but I just think he would have been thinking, if we can just get an early goal here, there's a good chance to make sure Leeds go under.
West Ham's 10th game since the start of December. And the player they've been linked with is Jonathan David, a striker from Lille, Canadian international. And the defender who used to be at Arsenal, Kostas Mavropanos, who's a Stuttgart player. There's Leo Jarrod, signed by Celtic from Rosenborg, though he didn't play first team football in Glasgow, went out on loan to Ross County. He's ailing. Strong run there on the Leeds United right hand side. And some bustling forward. Couldn't get through.
Yeah, they get the little ricochet. Johnson's in lovely shape, though. He's athletic and strong, quick off the mark there. You just seen that. Built like front row forwards now, but run like 100-metre sprinters. It's a great combination.
A great FA Cup pedigree in this Leeds United starting lineup. Mellier's never gone further than this. Cockett's his debut in the competition. Helder and Bate, obviously, too. Jack Harrison's never gone beyond this stage in the competition. Here's Declan Rice.
Certainly professed to a certain ignorance on my behalf, but that famous old club only winning the FA Cup once was a proper surprise to me.
Well, when you come to third round weekend, people talk about the great upsets in the competition, and though it wasn't in the third round, for me, the greatest upset of all time, my lifetime anyway, was Sunderland beating Leeds in the 73 final. That was such an upset. And the forgotten cup upset of all time for me is Bristol City going up to Leeds in 74-75. Leeds were top of the league, unbeaten. And Bristol City won the replay up there by a goal to nil, an afternoon game. During the miners' strike, it was a 3-day week, couldn't have floodlights. And his Bate did well, did very well. That's their first shot on goal.
Yeah, the first mention for him, really good play, cuts inside, that's a good chance on his left foot. Morente just getting a little bit too tight. This is what Antonio gives you, but then you need that bit of pressure. Decent first touch, good presence. Now you've picked up a foul on the halfway line, everyone gets a breather and shifts themselves up the pitch.
West Ham haven't lost in the third round since 2016. And beyond it then, 6 times in their last 7. Manchester City, the only team to not dump them out at this stage. That was a 5-0 drubbing here. And they went up to Leeds earlier this season. West Ham won by 2-1, a late winner by Antonio. Remember that one? Junior Firpo had scored an own goal earlier. Here is Antonio. Ayling did his customary good job. Former Arsenal youngster, though I believe he's a Chelsea fan.
Yeah, he's been a good signing for them, played a lot of games in recent years for them. Captain material as well.
Suffered family tragedy when he was a young boy, and took a while to get over that. Very rarely hear a bad word about Luke Ayling in the game. It's well over. A little bit of youthful naivety from Sam Greenwood.
Jeez, but this again will be the frustration that David Moyes has, just wandering forward into that final third. And although the shot is not threatening in any way, the very fact that it materialises be a little bit of a source of frustration, as I say, for the West Ham coach.
Diop. Do need strengthening at centre-back, West Ham United. With Zuma out. And before that, of course, they lost on Bonner. He won't play again this season. He's out for cruciate knee ligament injury picked up early in November. There's Llorente, who heads it down for Leeds United. Antonio with the pressure on Ayling. I think the referee said you got the ball, carry on. Well, they didn't really have any advantage from it. He did seem to acknowledge that it might have been a free kick. Stuart Outwell. Rice for the header forward. There's Robin Koch. 2 bad injury problems since he's been at Leeds, has restricted his action. Fredericks, and Diop to Rice.
I just think a slight problem that West Ham might be having. You talk about those centre-back areas, Jonathan. Diop, Dawson, good players, not blessed with brilliant pace, and you only need your centre-backs to drop 2 or 3 yards, and suddenly that stops the midfield getting tight, and that creates these sorts of situations we've seen where Leeds are picking up clearances in pockets of space, and crosses are coming in, and little half crosses are going in. You've got pace in those centre-back areas, and you can play a really high line that allows that midfield area to condense.
It's a Leeds ball. As the referee pulls it back and gives a free kick for the challenge on Bowen, he's done just that.
Stuart Outward just having a word with Firpo as he dives in.
Former Barcelona first teamer is Junior Firpo. European under-19 champion with Spain. Under-21 champion, I should say, but at times this season he's found it difficult to cope with life in England. Diop is up from the back. Rice will swing this away. Dawson. They're appealing for handball. And there is VAR here. It's an iniquitous situation, the FA Cup. VAR when it's a home Premier League ground, but not at other grounds.
That was an appeal where you think there's definite contact on the hand as well. That's not a made-up one.
Yesterday I was at Hull, which to all intents and purposes is a Premier League ground, and TV cameras were there, but no VAR, and Everton were denied 2 penalties for me. The handball. It is a strange situation. Should it be used at all, Matt, VAR in this competition, if it isn't in the early rounds, if some clubs can't have it?
I mean, I'd argue that you want the right decision as much as possible in the game, but it's certainly controversial, and we definitely both saw games. I saw Kidderminster yesterday in that game. The Reading goal probably shouldn't have been allowed, the one against them. Great story. Here we see.
Oh, he's pushed it away with his hand. It's the young debutant Leo Hjelde.
ball moves significantly, doesn't it? That's the thing. I think maybe just the ricochet helps him, the fact that it ricochets up into that area rather than just being there straight away. I always think it's strange as well. I know it doesn't influence it, but when the play goes on for a long time after the incident, it always feels a bit strange, doesn't it?
I did a game in Germany. Was it last year or the year before? I can't remember. When there was a contentious VAR at the end of the half, and for a penalty, they went off. Half-time whistle had blown, they went off. The VAR checked it, and the penalty taker and the opposition goalkeeper had to come back out. Penalty was scored, and that was it. That was bizarre.
That's tremendous. What happens if he saves it, ricochets, the player can't take another touch?
There wasn't anyone else out there.
Goalkeeper goes and scores the other end.
Oh, yeah. Here's Ailing. James. Harrison. Too many claret and blue shirts there. Lanzini. School of thought that Fornals would be in the starting lineup today as he comes back from COVID. Lanzini has kept his place. Understandably, he's been in terrific form. Vlasic has impressed David Moyes as well. He's right at the top of your picture there as Fredericks takes up the running. Now Bowen. Vlasic in a little bit of space awaiting. Now has it. Johnson. Bowen. Cut out by Hilda. He's been part of that under-23 Premier League 2 side this year, played in the English Football League trophy game away at Oldham with victory. A dozen games for Ross County last season. Here's Lanzini.
Not easy to find those left-footed centre-backs developing. It certainly looks natural with the few touches he's had in control of the ball here. Different stage for him though.
Sunshine in the faces of the fans on the far side. This great bowl of a 60,000 capacity stadium. Bowen. Very kindly here for Leeds and Lewis Bates. A foul on Greenwood, and you can hear the cheers from the Leeds fans who've come down here in their numbers.
Yeah, good play from the youngster. And that's where Dawson doesn't want to be in a foot race. Quite happy to give up a free kick there.
Harrison. Now Bates. Ailing wants it on the right touchline. Towards the edge of the box, and Sam Greenwood. West Ham play out poorly, Lanzini. That's a good claim by Hilda. Ailing with the cross in. Dawson did well to defend. And now here's Declan Rice.
Yeah, the first elements of frustration in the stands as well from the home fans. That Berlin ground, we used to use that against them a little bit as the away team. You knew those frustrations might just kick in. A little bit different here in this, as you say, that Bowl Stadium is a different transmission down onto the pitch, but at the old ground you'd feel it pour down sometimes out of those stands if you kept them quiet for 20 minutes or so.
When it's loud here, it's very, very loud, but it can go as quiet as a Sunday tea time at your maiden aunt's. Cucumber sandwiches and cold tea.
You obviously had a better upbringing than me, Jonathan.
Oh, they were grisly days. Nothing on the telly. Not a good ball again by Diop. He's been wasteful in possession. He's gone across there now, got the wrong side to make a challenge, really. And Leeds are just grown into the game, really. Big diagonal. Junior Firpo was awkward for him to deal with, and he dealt with it well. And a good delivery into the box, cut out by Fredericks. Challenging for it again. The Dominican Republic-born defender. Leeds cheered on by thousands of their fans. They're away to the right-hand side of your screen. You can hear them. Ooh, Diop there. Is he a bag of nerves? He's not had a good settled start first half hour, Matt.
That could have been horrible, couldn't it? Had no idea there. Nobody close to him at all. Bielsa will secretly be absolutely ecstatic with how this first half has gone. His team have been great. They've been a bit gutsy, but they've not really come under a massive amount of pressure. They've tried to play when they can, one or two half chances. Certainly those young debutants have looked comfortably enough so far.
The difference between these two sides, who I think at the moment Leeds will prefer points in next week's league game to a successful result here. West Ham, on the other hand, want and are at the state now where they expect victories in both of the games. Just went out of the League Cup in the quarter-final stage. They're through to the knockout stages of the Europa. Dawson wants the ball played to him by Souček.
It's amazing how many times in these sorts of circumstances, though, just the reflection of the form of the teams, that half hour very even, lots of positives for Leeds, but then something happens, you end up maybe conceding from an early set piece, something like that, and it just, all that confidence drips away, and then it ends up being a comfortable afternoon for the hosts. You see a little half foul on Dawson as he comes forward. Yeah, look, there's the frustrations. He wants that overlapping run from Fredericks. He wants him joining in. Yeah, the first goal often so pivotal here in the frailty of confidence in a side that's struggling a bit, as Leeds are doing.
That's where he would have expected Sofal to be normally, bombing down that right-hand side. He's not involved today. We haven't had any indications as to why. He's injured or ill or tested positive, we don't know. Clubs aren't duty-bound to say if a player has tested positive for COVID. There's Diop. And Ben Johnson, cousin of two illustrious footballers, Paul Parker and Ledley King. To Antonio, beaten in the air there by Diego Llorente. He's had a long run of starts in the league team of late, 12 in a row. Green with the cross looking for James. Will come out here for Bates. Miscued on his debut, the teenager.
Oh, he's had a long time to think about this glory moment. He'd have thought about it a lot last night. I wonder if I could just sneak one. It'd be brilliant for me. Pops up. Look how long he's got to think about this, but there's no one really close to him. Unfortunately, gets the shot all wrong. But they're getting joy coming off those two centre-backs. Got to keep saying that number 10 position, that number 10 area to exploit. That's what they do. The centre-backs don't want to follow the quick players into there. They're getting some joy.
Harrison with a little ball in, and Greenwood. Well, that counts as an attempt on goal, the little back heel. Never going to beat Areola. Antonio. Llorente ahead of him. Didn't want him to roll in, Antonio, there onto his right foot. Souček is out on the left-hand touchline. It's a good spin. Vlasic, determined defending, stopped him. It's loose. Mellier's lost it. West Ham lead. Man, bang in form, scores for them. Manuel Lanzini. Horrible defending. West Ham 1, Leeds 0.
Yeah, unfortunate. You've got to, once you've blocked the first one, and they look vulnerable early with the run into the box. And this is where I talk about that. It's been tight for half an hour. You've been right in the game. Antonio does well, plays the ball and follows, and they should shift here, and here they're really vulnerable. This is actually good defending. Looks like you could be done for a pullback. That's going to be trouble. But at some point, you've got to be brave. They're a bit unfortunate the way that it breaks out to Lanzini. He buries that one. But that defensive shape all over the place there.
Hjelde did well initially, and then Firpo's clearance. Meslier lost it completely, just popped straight at the feet of Lanzini, who buried it. He didn't know where the ball was. Lanzini knew where the net was. 1-0 to the Hammers. took it well, his first FA Cup goal.
Yeah, when you're going well, those pop out, fall to a defender, you clear your lines, take a sigh of relief. When you're struggling a bit, VAR looking at the foul, is it, for this challenge? Oh,
offside
from a shot.
Well, Lanzini's not offside. He's coming from behind. Does Bowen play an active role then?
I think there's a challenge on the goalkeeper, isn't there?
Bowen played an active role because he came in and challenged the goalkeeper.
Yeah, even though the touch isn't his. I think there's enough in that it should be overturned.
Leeds United firmly believe it should be. Watch this, see where Bowen is. He's standing offside. And this is where he plays the role. Doesn't take the ball off Meslier. Doesn't touch it, does he, Matt?
He doesn't, but he's certainly influencing the play there, isn't it, with the goalkeeper diving at his feet. You could make a case for the fact that without him being there, goalkeeper gathers that ball, doesn't break free.
Well, the VAR is taking his time, Peter Banks.
Hard to say that player isn't interfering with play, isn't it?
Yeah. I'd be surprised if this goal stands, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and for the defending, for Jarrod, he probably deserves a break there because he did really well in getting a shot in. My worry for him, wow.
Well, Leeds will fume about that.
Wow.
Lanzini's goal stands, West Ham lead. The question you need to ask, would Meslier have got to the ball had Bowen not come across there? And they've decided no, he wouldn't have.
He's actively trying to play the ball to the side. He's trying to take that ball. He's not trying to jump over that and not be a part of it. He's trying to take that ball around the goalkeeper.
Not a happy man. I mean, he's never brimful of joy anyway on the touchline, to be fair. Fascinating character. He's the coach's coach, the guru to so many coaches. You actually look at his managerial record, though, and there hasn't been too much success in there for Argentina. Yes, he won Olympic gold. Athletic Bilbao, he took to the Europa League final, the Spanish Copa del Rey final. In Argentina, there were a couple of Clausura titles, but shy of glory.
Yeah, you know, his interpreters just looked at that whole incident and thought, I'm going to have a busy couple of hours after this game as well, explaining that one away. It's an interesting one as well, I think, because referee can't give that on the pitch. It's not a referee's decision where he chooses not to give it. It's tough that the linesman has a good view but doesn't necessarily pick up on it, but it's not one where you say the ref doesn't give it and there's enough evidence to overturn it. He can't give that.
And there's the additional thing, if that ball came off a Leeds United player last, which it looked from that angle as if it did, he wouldn't have been offside anyway. Whether or not he's impeding the goalkeeper, do you know what I mean, Matt?
Yeah, but the point there is that the shot's going in, it comes off the Leeds player, but as it comes off the foot of the West Ham player, the intention is that he's shooting and he's offside.
Well, here's Bowen, man in question, and Fredericks. Good, decent pullback and away by Bates.
Great ball. Got to make sure they don't concede again, Leeds. This is where it gets tough. This is Watford at Leicester yesterday. Hanging the game, you're in there okay. Once it goes to 2-0, you're vulnerable.
Rice. Youngsters out there as well for Leeds United. If West Ham rattling a couple before half-time, which they look capable of doing at the moment, there could be a situation where Leeds mentally crumble as they did at Manchester City in the 7-0 at home to Arsenal in the 4-1 defeat. And they'd actually been growing into the game, hadn't they, before the goal. There's Firpo. Away towards Ayling, who has been playing as a centre-half of late. Dallas has been out there in the right-back, not involved from the start today. Harrison. Rice is there with him. Saw an opportunity to find bait, decent ball. Greenwood and James in the middle, and Ayling still in that penalty area. There's Robin Koch. First time ball in, and Diop got it away.
But when that ball goes in early, and he had the chance when he was running before, this one going in early, you've got centre-backs facing their own goal, they hate that. But he had that chance before as well, and delayed it. And then suddenly you've got 8 claret and blue shirts back, and it gets a whole lot tougher.
Corner kick. Harrison with it. Areola, Kane and Clay. How important is that in a microcosmic moment in the game to see a goalkeeper in the big scheme of things? Just a little moment like that to see a goalkeeper do that, Matt, if you're a defender as you were.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. You know, always want them to take responsibility. Great ball there.
Here's Johnson, early ball in, looking for Antonio.
Not to worry. Hopefully he's just jarred that. It's a great ball again, early play. Tough to defend. Stretched play. It's a fantastic ball down that inside left channel. Should be all right on this. Don't think it will be too serious. This is a fantastic ball, beautifully weighted. And then I love the fact there's no touch. Just deliver that in there. All the favour for the forward. Just can't get his shot quite right.
I wonder how he damaged that.
Is it the leg? It's his
striking.
It's
leg,
under him, isn't it? I think it's his own body weight that goes through his leg as the shot comes in.
Well, he's struggling. He has had his injury problems, but he's played a lot of games this season. This is his 23rd of a demanding campaign. This is what a lot of them were saying, you know, those who I was mentioning beforehand, Matt, who were criticising the new big deal for Antonio, were saying, well, he'll pick up injuries. Is it worth it for a 31-year-old?
Yeah, this is body weight, though, and a lunge, as opposed to a muscle injury.
I think, it's just my view, others might disagree, but I think he gives West Ham more than the goals and his physical play. It's the mental thing he brings to the West Ham starting lineup. This great enthusiasm he has just ripples through the team. His great joy at being a footballer. His goal celebrations are famous, of course. He's so personable when you meet him and talk to him. He just loves it all.
Yeah, whichever way you look at the figures and whether they're right or wrong, there's lots of players earning that money that don't have that impact at Premier League level, aren't there?
Decent ball in, here's the goal again. I want to get him back on. They're not particularly happy that the Norwich match has been rearranged for midweek. That was the game they lost over the Christmas period because of COVID. Slotted in this week. Other rearranged games have been slotted in by the clubs the following week. Souček interchanging passes with Lanzini. Here's Vlasic.
Been quiet, hasn't he, Vlasic?
Yeah, David Moyes has been saying that it's taken him a while. You were talking about this earlier. Him a while to adjust to the physicality of game in, game out at Premier League level. He tries to find Souček there. It'll come through to Fredericks.
Maybe a chance to take a touch rather than the shot here. James was struggling a little bit, had slightly switched off as it came across. Not sure he thought the ball would come all the way out to this side.
Last appearance was back in November. Ryan Fredericks. Couple of injuries. The goal, the VAR hold up. I'm told we'll have 3 minutes of stoppage time. And by Jarrod.
He's played those passes really well into midfield. Young centre-back.
Promising first half from him. Llorente. You'd expect him to talk the youngster through the game. One of the players being linked with a move to Newcastle, Sven Botman at Lille, terrific centre-half talent. But last season when they won the title, he was talked through the whole campaign by Jose Font. Every game he was in his ear alongside him. Firpo with a cross in.
That's got to go in earlier. Too much space for him there not to exploit. Now they're up against it.
Well, Lanzini came through a crowd of 4 Leeds players there. Bielsa will fume if they score from here, West Ham. Blasic, dying seconds of the half. Antonio. Cross looking for Fredericks. And Meslier has come and crashed into Junior Firpo. And he's holding the back of his thigh, that's a worry.
He should be fine. It's just what this contact actually was with Firpo. If you come in, make sure you take everything. Worry about the consequences afterwards. Doesn't look too severe on Firpo. You've got to take a few of those as a defender. Yeah, he has a little look. He's going to be fine.
That's old school, that, isn't it? If you're coming out, if you're coming to claim, go through everything.
100%. Unless you end up with your nose in your ear, you should be fine.
What's he thinking, do you think, Matt?
I think he'll be secretly quite pleased with the way that it's gone, because when you put that sort of team out, that you can have a worry that it could be horrible and you could find yourself 3-0 down early. Here we just see the extent of the collision. It's not direct with the face for Firpo. Don't have any worries for him at all. And even after that reaction from the goalkeeper, I'm surprised that... Does he jar the leg as it goes down? No, it just looks like contact.
Not missed a game this season. Not everything has been sweetness and light for him this season. He made 1 or 2 errors, but the manager trusted in him when they came into the Premier League. And he stuck with him. And he's still, what, 21 years of age. Regular now for France of that age group. On the bench, they have Christopher Klassen, who's stretching off there.
We're looking dead leg, I think, here more than anything.
Well, it would be Klassen's debut for the club. He's played for the under-21 side. Signed from Vålerenga in the summer.
Heart rate currently 210. Who would want to come on as a substitute goalkeeper at any point?
Listening to the coverage of the Ashes overnight, and they were saying that every batsman, whatever level, every batsman is dread nervous ahead of, doesn't matter who they are, dread nervous before they go out there, and once they go out there into the square, the nerves go. Is that the same with players at this level?
Yeah, it varies, but you would definitely, and even there, just as the collision takes place and you see your goalkeeper lying there, if you're a young goalkeeper, you get that immediate adrenaline rush, because just maybe you'll be getting called upon. Very rare that you've got someone who doesn't get any sort of butterflies at all, and it helps as well. It almost helps you know that you're ready to go in that case. Obviously it gets easier to deal with, and experience helps. They look like they're just going to be fine. Pretty bouncy as a 21-year-old.
Well, it'll add to the stoppage time because we've already had the 3 minutes. Llorente lofts it away. Decent take by Harrison. Greenwood was off and running. The big gap here in this middle area when Bate goes forward for Leeds United.
That ball shouldn't be getting dropped in there to Harrison unchallenged. That's the bit that Dave Moyes won't like.
Firpo is okay now. James cut out by the goal scorer. Lanzini then to Bowen. Antonio turning the youngster. Fredericks takes it up. Here's Bowen. Back to Fredericks. Very nearly to Meslier. Well, it wasn't a comfortable save, so you wonder about his fitness, but he got there.
Yeah, he's hobbling a little bit. Be interesting at half-time. He'll need to keep that one moving. But there we talk about Antonio. That break comes because he has a physicality 30 yards from goal, and it leads to a chance for his team. He's never in a position to score it himself, but it is his physicality that directly leads to that chance.
Even his first goal in nearly a year, scored against Sheffield United when they were already all but doomed, really. Crosslets for James, bit of space for him. Didn't get off the ground. Now Antonio. And nearly 5 minutes of first half stoppage time. Good opportunity for Fredericks.
Yeah, he should do better. Stretches into it. Needs to hit that with the laces rather than the instep. Curl it in that left-hand corner. Take it away from the goalkeeper. Sorry, Matt.
Souček into Lanzini started that one, and I think this will be where the referee Stuart Atwell blows up. Will he allow another attack? Ailing. Johnson cut it out. The challenge caught him bait.
Don't love the reaction. Don't like the screaming coming into the game. Nothing malicious about that. Again, you take a few of those, doesn't really raise the studs. It's comfortably there at the ball.
Came through young London youth football together. Johnson's a couple of years older than Lewis, but he's a Sidcup-born boy from south of the river. Played young football at Kent and was at Chelsea before moving to Leeds. He was at the academy for Chelsea for a long while. Half-time at the London Stadium, and West Ham United lead it with Lanzini in a little bit of a purple patch. Controversial goal, went to VAR to confirm that it wasn't offside, and as a consequence Leeds United, who haven't really created anything attacking wise, have an uphill task to stay in this tie. Bowen judged to have been okay, not interfering. The Lanzini goal stood, and West Ham United lead it here by 1-0 at the break. Welcome back to the London Stadium, and you can see that Leeds United manager Marcelo Bielsa has made half-time changes. Rafinha, with his trickery, his brilliance, the Brazilian international, is on. He's replaced young Sam Greenwood, and also Stuart Dallas is on. He's replaced the debut boy Lewis Bates at the heart of midfield. They are turning to experienced Leeds to get back into this Emirates third round tie at West Ham United, who lead with a goal by Lanzini in that first period. The referee Stuart Atwell makes sure everything's okay. Off we go though in this second half, with West Ham United in the claret and blue, kicking from right to left in this second half and looking to get Bowen straight in, but he's caught by the flag of the referee Neil Davis in an offside position. So how will West Ham United readjust now to the two substitutions for Leeds, Dallas and Rafinha on? And Matt, as we see this again, making sure that he is offside, the assistant got it right and he did. How will Leeds United change, do you think?
Yeah, it's interesting. Rafinha, with all that trickery, you would think will certainly go and lead the line. We'll keep an eye out to see if the formation changes at all. I mean, it's fairly brutal from a substitution point of view. Yeah, two young lads, maybe not the greatest of impacts, but dragging them off at half-time, big statement.
Yeah, and young Lewis Bates is just 19 and Sam Greenwood is just 19. The sort of decision that can affect a player long into his career, being hooked in a major game like this. But Marcelo Bielsa, I don't think, is a romantic manager in any sense of the word. He is a very unpredictable manager, we know that. I mean, he went to Lazio in 2016 and lasted 2 days. He went to Lille with a master plan that was going to take years and years and years, and he lasted 19 games. But Rafinha, many Leeds fans wanted to see start. He's got 8 goals this season, but he's only ever played 1 FA Cup tie for the club. You know, they don't use him in cup competitions. He's on this right-hand side. James then.
Yeah,
James through the middle.
Yeah, which is an interesting one.
And the free kick for Leeds. Ironic cheers for the referee from the travelling Leeds United supporters, many of whom will be here again next weekend in the Premier League clash between the two sides. And here is Rafinha. Don't forget, it has to be settled here today. There are no FA Cup replays at any stage of the competition this year. They've already gone from the latter stages, but because of COVID and the pile-up of fixtures, it's been decided that the replays would go. There's a school of thought that there shouldn't be extra time, that penalties should come in after 90 minutes. Personally, I'm not in favour of that. Would you be, Matt?
No, I think it needs to have that extension in that way. I think the ones that you feel sorry for are the minnows who force a replay, maybe take a big opposition back to their place or get the opportunity to go and play on a bigger stage. But I also understand the practicalities of the strange times that we're living in.
And at the moment, at the top end of the game, there actually aren't that many matches to be rearranged. It's a little bit different lower down. Played out by Llorente, poorly. You see some bad passing out of defence from both sides, really.
Llorente's looked worse than Jarrod, though. He's struggled a little bit going in there. Jarrod's actually been really confident in the way that he's wrapped those balls into the midfield areas. Stuart Dallas, by the way, just really replicating that position that Bate had, gone and sat in there alongside Koch.
Well, he's played everywhere for them, hasn't he, the Northern Ireland international. Here's Antonio. On the outside there of Llorente, who is struggling. Big chance for West Ham United. Didn't hit a claret and blue shirt. And Harrison, who's gone back to the left-hand side, and that's his preferred position. Got it away for Leeds United.
It's the one thing about Antonio, he loves that left channel, happy to pull out there. Needs to be on the end of his own crosses, though, doesn't he? This is a fantastic ball, fizzed across. Centre forwards, tap-ins from 6 yards out, nobody there.
He's young Leo Jarrod, contracted through until 2025. There's Declan Rice. West Ham fans all hope will be here until at least then, but I think if West Ham don't get into senior European football, he might want to go, even though he's West Ham through and through at the moment. That's offside again against Bowen.
It's not the straightest of back fours, which you often find with inexperienced players. Enough in it. Not the worst thing to do when the referee's gone against you on VAR. Try and knock him out with a bouncing bomb. Good reactions from Stuart Atwell. Saw the funny side just about. Might not have done if he'd taken that in the temple.
Meslier seems okay now after that, what looked like a dead leg at the end of the first half. So it's Klich. Down by Bowen. Socek having a look. Typical pressure from 3 Leeds players around him. He was one of the players David Moyes was talking about before Christmas. I mentioned in the first half their stats had dipped in terms of, you know, running, yards covered, speed of runs, touches on the ball, forward passing. I think he was one he was targeting. Just dipped below the very, very high levels he set himself for last season. But he's back to it now, I think.
Yeah, the ebbs and flows of a season, it is strange how it can work for players. Everything gets measured, though, certainly at Premier League level. Every analyst is analysed themselves, every player, nowhere to hide.
It's well won back by Leeds. And here's James looking for Rafinha, can turn the game in a blink of an eye. Not like that. Diop was handily placed. Lanzini. Cut it away to Johnson.
James has got to realise, or got to remember, that he's leading that line now. Again, we see Antonio with that pace, causes chaos.
Actually trying to hold on to him, but couldn't do. Here's Bowen. This could be crucial.
Oh, great save.
Save with his legs to deny Bowen, and West Ham a second.
Great save, and there Antonio again, never going to score himself. Look at the pace, look at the strength. Would have had another assist. It's a great strike, an early strike as well. The goalkeeper does brilliantly. That's a tough save to make.
That's when saving with your legs is crucial. Judge couldn't get his body down with a dive as quick as he could save with his legs. Bowen will take the corner then for West Ham United. Souček could be, he's got a run on Ayling there. He could be crucial here. He's beyond him. Rice sends it back towards the Czech Republic international, and in the end, Leeds were comfortable enough. So dangerous at set pieces, Souček. They score a lot of goals from set pieces, West Ham United. They concede a lot of goals from set pieces. Llorente. Have we seen enough from Leeds, having made the changes in the opening 7 minutes, to suggest they can get back into this game? Llorente ailing off and running down the right-hand side. Koch. Ailing then back to teammate Matthijs Klich.
Might just see Rafinha there, far edge of the picture. That's the area for them to exploit. Him and James close by each other, too close really. They need to sort that one out, but that's the area they have to get balls into their leads if they're going to have any sort of impact, I think, in this second half.
As that ball was played out wide though, Matt, did you notice the only white shirt in that West Ham box? There were 4 claret and blue shirts back there. Was Daniel James, and his team does look lightweight up front. Let's remind ourselves there's no Bamford, no Tyler, no Gelhardt, and young Greenwood substituted at half-time. Missing their first 3 choices at centre forward. Oh, Rodrigo, of course, out for a while. They look punchless.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting to know how many times Daniel James has led a line as well in that capacity.
Steered poorly down the line. Switch to Luke Ayling. Looks for James with a run from out to in. Easily gathered by Alphonse Areola. They'll get pressure on Diop, who hasn't passed the ball well in the game, but it comes through to Vlasic, and this is a positive run, and the check back, and where his legs taken they were. Decision goes against the young man. He says he didn't touch him, Leo Hjelde.
Yeah, he might have a point as well. Not sure Vlasic necessarily. Yeah, he wasn't really in control of his own body. Buys one there.
I don't think Hjelde touched him, did he?
No, he didn't at all. He's defended really well, the young man, and say Vlasic, he's not in control as that one comes across. He's not going to get the turn in himself, and it's the slip. If only players were more honest, Jonathan.
Don't make it easy to referee at times. There's the door stopper, the draft excluder.
Love this.
Lanzini can be deadly from here. Bowen's got a good strike on him. Lanzini with it, hit the wall. Llorente, I think. West Ham not building on that lead. Led in the cup competition on 3 occasions, 1 win each and a draw. West Ham beat Leeds here in round 4, not here, in the Bowling Ground 4-1, and then in round 2, 6 years earlier, they drew at home and went out in a replay against a very young Leeds United football team. They're only formed in 1919.
The other issue Bielsa has now, having made those 2 substitutions, usually 2 senior players, what do you do to change it from here as you're chasing the game down? They are young on the bench, aren't they?
Ham fans sing the bubbles. Leeds fans have been in fine voice. Rice sees the run of Bowen. Jarrod Bowen cut out again by Jarrod. I think he's had a promising debut for Leeds United.
Yeah, he's been very good. Had to get that one right. Probably just strays into the area to make this challenge. Good enough pace going across. That's one you have to get right. Bowen a real threat.
Norwegian under 21. He's actually born in England. He was born in Nottingham just before his dad left Forest. Went out to the Far East, I seem to remember. Now, this is Vlasic. There's the pullback for Rice. Fans were calling for him to shoot. He knows he should have done better, looking for a fourth this season.
Yeah, shall I go for pace? Shall I curl it? I'll go for a conversion instead. That was horrible. Again, just a bit trickier as it comes across the body.
Yet to score in the FA Cup. There are many FA Cup goals in this West Ham United side, actually. Lanzini's was his first for the club.
They're not easy to come by, Jonathan. Players with more than one FA Cup, they treasure them forever.
Did you win it?
Yeah, and it might have got a mention at some point.
Here's Johnson. Had his fitness problems early in December, and Johnson, he hurt his leg playing against Chelsea here. Couldn't cover back for one of the Chelsea goals. He picked up the injury just before. He won that game famously, West Ham United. Switched by Dawson. Leeds are going to make a change, and I think it's going to be Adam Forshaw who comes on. Midfield player, and who will take off? Luke Ayling, I'm hearing, will go off for them now. Whether he's struggling or whether or not that's with the league games in mind up and coming. But here comes the change, and the captain's armband will be passed on. And off goes Luke Ayling. Well, he was out for a long stage, of course. You think this is tactical, or you think it's to protect him?
I think it probably would be planned. Hadn't looked like he was struggling at all. Surely this will mean a change of formation. Forshaw, really midfield player.
He's had a decent season. Run of starts in the side, started their last 9 games. Liverpool born, Adam Forshaw. At the club now for a 3-year sign from Middlesbrough. And good to see him playing football again, because he was out from September 19 to October of last year with a pelvic injury. Another one with very little FA Cup success to his name. 10 ties, reached the 4th round once, went out of a replay at that stage for Brentford against Chelsea. No way through for Leeds. They've offered up little in attack. Vlasic's battling away there. And Dallas couldn't keep it in play. Firpo's gone in to centre half.
Llorente to right back, I think, with Hjelde coming across one.
Llorente has played there often. Antonio. Here's Rice. Run by Fredericks. Exploiting the change, perhaps. And cleared away by young Hjelde. At this stage, Matt, can you see anything else but a West Ham win?
Shouldn't be. It would be a major upset if that wasn't the case. They look stronger. They've got more flexibility with the changes to make. I think they can affect the game in a better way, West Ham. They obviously have that lead, so it's going to be tough to chase down for those Leeds players. But David Moyes would certainly like a second.
Lanzini. Off then to Vlasic. Johnson off balance, scooped the cross behind. Arrives like a steam train, and off balance he couldn't get the cross accurately in. But he certainly is a willing attacking fullback. Loves to get forward. They've got to do something about his long-term future, unless things have changed behind the scenes. And West Ham United have been doing their business quietly and effectively over the last couple of months. There was this big brouhaha about Antonio's contract. The details were leaked or emerged this week, but actually the contract was done in October. And I think they've signed a fair few players. Johnson's was up in the summer, but I can't believe they've let that go on. It must be he must have been put on a more permanent deal, because had he not been put on a longer deal, he'd be free to talk to other teams from now on.
Yeah, some players certainly take that liberty as well. Really, anybody within 18 months you look at starting, certainly if they're playing regularly and affecting a first team.
FA Cup goal-scoring hero, Sir Trevor Brooking. And Lady Brooking alongside him.
Looks well, doesn't he?
He does. Did the last ever game at Upton Park with him on the radio. And it was an emotional evening.
Yeah, he might not get around the pitch now, but I bet he could still spray a pass if given the time.
Wonderful footballer. Had some terrific players, midfield players over the years. West Ham, Alan Devonshire, what a player he was. Now here's James of Leeds United. Diop left it, good shout by Alphonse Areola.
Can he just be a bit more positive? He's running into the box, he's got that lovely pace and balance. Keep going. Can you draw a foul? Struggle to get numbers forward, haven't they? Struggled to get numbers into the box. It's a bit of a half-hearted flick inside and there's no one there. Going to have to make something happen himself.
He seems to have more belief, self-belief as a Wales player than as a club player, Daniel James. Vlasic saw the gap. This was blocked. Vlasic appeals for handball, might have struck an arm. Johnson. Well guarded. Cross comes in though. Just the Robin Cock couldn't prevent that cross coming in from Johnson. Away by Click.
Interesting from Johnson. He had a chance to put the ball in earlier, didn't. Looked reluctant off the left. And then Click just jars his knee. Leeds physio must have his head in his hands every time. There's a wince. He should be fine.
In comes that corner for West Ham United. Good punch under pressure from Manuel. Rafinha couldn't get to it, Johnson did. There's so many injuries picked up. Look, Firpo's gone down again. I'll bring you back to that question I asked earlier, Matt. It's a very intense training regime. It's a very intense, high pressurised game that Leeds play. Has that taken its toll, the 3 years under Bielsa now, on the players? You've been there, what, since 2018? Is it now beginning to take its toll?
I think as well, yes, it does have a physical effect, because you can't keep putting the body. The intensity now of the first team games is so unbelievable that they are going to get fatigued. And we talked earlier about the West Ham stats and how you see those dips. But psychologically, to keep putting your body through that extreme physical exertion and the pressure of playing for a coach like Bielsa when things aren't going well, that's the really tough part. To drive yourself on when you're having a bad time, that's a really difficult thing to do.
And cynics of the modern game will say, well, the old players used to go through 50-60 games and not pick up an injury, but it's a different game these days, far different game these days. This is where Manuel hurt himself in the first half and hurt Firpo.
Yeah, I just saw as the physio came on there, as the referee went over to him, he made a little gesture, almost as though possibly slightly blurred vision. Or obviously concussion protocols will kick in here, but this doesn't look like a physical element of the knock. This looks like it might just be a reaction to that contact to the head area.
Well, you can make 5 substitutes from your 9. If it goes to extra time, you get another substitution you can bring on. And if a player is subject to concussion protocol, you can bring on another substitute free, if you like. I mean, there is a potential scenario. You get 2 or 3 concussion protocols in the FA Cup. You're in extra time. You've changed 9 of your players during a game, and that is a head problem for him. It looks as if he's saying to the physio he's not right. Yeah, and the referee has signalled, so it looks as if this is going to be a concussion protocol substitute.
Long time to get to that point, though. The only thing I would say, to notice it now, in the 5 minutes after half-time, I get it, but that's a long time to go.
Midway through the second half now, quarter of the game to go, and there will be questions asked, I think, from outside agencies about this. If it is concussion, why he was allowed to go back on after half-time, and why he's stayed out there this long. I'm sure Leeds United will have an answer for it, but he is being replaced now by Cody Drammer, who's a London boy, comes from Dulwich, south of the Ridder, was at Fulham Academy, went up to Leeds in August 2020, and has played 4 times this season for them. He's an England under-21, played in that very surprise defeat in Georgia earlier this season. But he's a left-back, and comes on then for Firpo.
It looks like he might have come on right back with Dallas across to left back. Really is emergency ward 10, isn't it, for Leeds?
I do apologise, he is a right back but has played left back, so he's come on in that position. Started the game against Arsenal recently, the 1-4, and they brought him on. Before that, he'd have loved this. They brought him on for 18 minutes at Manchester City. What was the score by then? They lost the game 7-0. There you are, son, you go on and change the game, influence the game.
Well, technically they're still in this cup tie. Hasn't necessarily appeared that way with 20 minutes or so to go. Obviously only the 1 goal in it, but you're always vulnerable with that lead. Really haven't looked like they're going to make forward progress, Leeds, in terms of threatening that West Ham goal, but David Moyes, as ever, will be wary.
Game's lost its way, hasn't it? Here's James, tagged by Declan Rice. Again, the ironic cheers from the Leeds fans. He felt they'd been hard done by the decisions of referee Stuart Atwell.
Still think West Ham, that back 4 is too deep. It's going to cause them problems at Premier League level if they continue to want to really dominate the top of that league, those Champions League positions.
Antonio's done brilliantly there. Here's Rice. He's pinned the defender and held him off. Proper old centre-forward play, that. I was saying him earlier on in the commentary, he's not a natural centre-forward but a wide man. You wouldn't believe that looking at that centre-forward play. It was terrific. You'd have played with some proper old centre-forwards in your time. Big Duncan, you played with Big Duncan at Everton?
Yeah, certainly did that. Not one we want to challenge aerially very often.
Dawson won it back. And here's Bowen. Since West Ham might need a second. They look for it. Got it away by Jarrod, got away with a little bit. Here's Vlasic. He's really been in the thick of things. So when you were in training then at Everton and you were set-piece routine, defending a set-piece routine, but who's going to pick up Duncan at this set-piece routine? How many hands went up?
Yeah, not too many. No, he was formidable in that regard, but your Shearers and people, the physicality that they had.
Lanzini, cheap caution this.
He knows he's going to be prepared to take one there, break the play up. Not necessarily sure it was as dangerous a situation as he maybe identified to pick up the yellow card, but it's very much the way of the modern game.
I think that's his first caution of the season in all football. Here's Rafinha. Hasn't been an influence since coming on. Robin Koch. Leeds are far from out of this FA Cup tie. Cody Drammer. Back to the youngster. And another 21 though. Qualified for Gambia, I think it is. Rafinha to the edge of the box. Crossing by Harrison. Forshaw was there. Oh, big opportunity. The ball was driven back low through the penalty area by Click, and it came to James, and that's a big opportunity for Leeds.
And that's the vulnerability that you have. He's shooting Click. I don't think he's putting this back into the danger area knowingly. I think he drags it in there. Well, possibly he is. Can you sort your feet out? Harrison it is, doesn't move his feet. The ricochet. But that's why you need that second goal at times. That's the closest they've been. Helps when you get bodies in there. First time we've really seen Harrison. He's been too quiet for me.
But the fact that James couldn't react quickly enough, Matt, in there, he's not a natural line leader, is he? He doesn't look like a nat. He'll score terrific goals for you, but not goals on a terrific rate.
No, when you start, to the point I was making at the start of the half, when you have to remember that you're that 9, but you also then have to play a lot with your back to the back four, your back to goal with the ball being played up to you. That's a completely different feeling for a player who generally plays wide and wants to be running forwards into space.
West Ham are going to make a change in a minute. Anyone else who's been out with COVID issues will come in. Might replace Lanzini. Like for like, might replace Vlasic. It's going to be Lanzini who goes. Fornals will come on. He's had a decent season for West Ham United in what has been a promising campaign for them. Regular up until the last couple of games. In fact, well, he started 55 of the last 67 games at Fornals. And the team beat by Manchester United in the 5th round last season. Here's Antonio. Fredericks. Antonio. Well, he could make the 5 substitutions and an extra one in extra time. The 5 in the normal 90 can only be made in 3 substitution windows. Diop, Rice. Decent containment by Leeds up until there. Here's Johnson. He's in shape about Leeds at the back, but Declan Rice has come wide. What can he do here? Quarter of an hour to go. Second goal you think would win the tie.
He needs to get that one on target. Understand the pace that he's putting in there, trying to get the little glancing header for somebody. A bit frustrated here. We see a change getting made. Goal scorer going off. Could be the big moment of the game. Certainly a controversial moment in the game. Happy to blast that one home from 7 yards or so. So delighted this home crowd. Not the biggest influence. I thought he was sharp early on. Faded out of the game as players maybe not played quite so much. Chance for Fornals though, and this is the difference in the subs coming on. Not necessarily making them weaker. A different dimension. Different energy.
Lanzini's 6th start in their last 7 games, 6th start this season. He missed the first months of the campaign. We'll see how Fornals has been affected by the COVID. A lot of people expect footballers when they come back in, or any sportsman to come back in when they've eventually tested negative after a COVID spell, to be right back on their game. But if you have had the illness, you know how much it takes out of you. Debilitating sometimes for months and months afterwards. A couple of the Newcastle boys last season were hit long term, weren't they? This is offside, by the way.
I think athletically I had it for about the last 9 years of my career, unfortunately, but wasn't diagnosed there, so we just got on with it.
Well, I was going to say, I've had it a couple of times. I think my days of sub 10-second 100 metres have gone now, to be fair. Don't think I'll ever regain that sharpness.
Brilliant. Well, there's a young man who's shown a certain sharpness today. Been very good. Leo Hjelde. Bright spot. A lot of credit there.
On comes another youngster, the Dutchman, Gusencio Somerville. He's played 7 times this season in the first. He had a 1-minute run out in the home defeat by West Ham earlier this campaign. Started against Fulham in the League Cup. He's a Dutch under-21 international. And he's a winger, as you can see. He's come down to this near touchline. So it's another change then for Leeds United. Can't quite bring that ball under control. And a yellow card. Cody Drama, who's asking the question why.
Just a bit high.
Was there contact at all?
The merest brush on possibly a follow-through. It's a strange one, isn't it? It's the decision almost, isn't it, to go for it now rather than even the execution of the tackle.
If you've ever watched the 1970 Cup final replay, Leeds against Chelsea in the modern game, none of the players would still be on the pitch. One of the most brutal games of football you'll ever see. Brilliant and brutal. And there's a foul on Souček. Got there a little bit late.
It's just the wrong side, isn't it? Again, this is a strange one, and it's the softest thing. But when Souček is turning away there, he's running in on goal. That, for me, is more of a cynical foul. He's just completely the wrong side. I mean, what we've just seen, I hate the fact that it's a yellow, but that then certainly should be.
11 minutes to go. David Moyes still has substitutions up his sleeve. Manuel's runs over it. That should be Melié's, and it is. And unless the Firpo substitution by Jama was a concussion protocol one, Leeds have used up all their substitutes. I haven't had that confirmed yet. It looked to me as if it was a head problem now. Vlasic with the run, Antonio. Just had that confirmed. It was definitely a concussion sub, so they still have one change left in the 90. Oh, that's risky. And that's cut out here by Fredericks. Declan Rice in space, wants it, needs it, doesn't get it. Chance gone. Look at the players queued up in the middle, enraged.
He's never even got his head up. Not at all. Like the fact they go forward, but it's a tough angle to score from. Don't play square across your own box. I think I've heard that one a few times since the age of 9. But just pull the ball back. Look at Rice. Look at Bowen. That's tough. Once you're going out there, that's not going to be easy to score.
And to lip read him, when they were all shouting at him, did you see what he said? He looked up and went, what? Now, what can Leeds do here on the right-hand side with Jama? Rafinha, been very quiet since coming on. Hasn't had the ball. Foreshore. Big diagonal too long.
Worrying time this to be a Leeds supporter. Massive game coming up for them. I think they've got Newcastle a couple of weeks. They've obviously had a massive win against Burnley in recent times, helps a bit. Lots going on in that great mind, but just getting a team out when you're at that stage, difficult. Doesn't look easy, does it, this coaching lark?
He'll be back here at the weekend, next weekend in the league. Week today, and then it is that game against Newcastle United. They might have new bodies in by then. Melia. And Llorente into foreshore. Drama. Rafinha. Some of it was out wide, but they've changed it now. Click. Here's some of it. Poked the ball into the box. Did that hit a hand? Did that hit a hand? Ben Johnson it was, I think.
He leans into it. He does lean into it. The arm is tucked right tight to him, but he leans into it.
Leeds fans were adamant behind that goal. They should have had a penalty. Here's Antonio. Swept away by Dallas. Well, this is going to be really intriguing if we get a second look at this.
High enough up, probably. Shoulder.
He moves his arm onto it.
He does, but I think it's shoulder. Definitely rub the shoulder. Do that now. Rub the neck if you have to.
Yeah, and take the throw in quickly, because once this is restarted, they can't VAR it. Won't be checked then. Or it would have been checked at the time, because the checks are continuous through a game. And I think the moment might have disturbed young Ben Johnson. That was unlike him there. Foreshore. There's still time for Leeds United to rescue this tie and then in the extra half hour go on and win it. Here's Foreshore. James. Rafinha. Rice. And here's Bowen to take up the running. It's like another 90 minutes for him in the game. He's fouled.
Oh, he's fouled because he's away from Foreshore. Foreshore not blessed with pace and he's away from him there. There's enough contact to make it fall over there. Can't do any more.
How didn't the assistant see that? The assistant's five yards maximum away, Neil Davis, from that.
Can't hold the ball up going forward, Leeds, can they? That's the trouble. We talk about them sort of being in it, and they obviously are because it's only 1-0, but that forward passage of play has been really halted for them. That's the worrying elements. Where's the goals coming from?
Fornals looks for West Ham's second. Little pull back, and away it goes. Looks for Vlasic. She's tagged by Crescencio Somerville.
Just get the legs tangled up. Nothing in the challenge at all. Just trying to regain the ground. This is a dangerous area though. This will be whipped towards that far post. Make sure you hit the target. Hope for the glance of someone stood across that 6-yard area.
9 minutes to go. West Ham are running another substitute perhaps. If we'll see one of the youngsters. Lacey playing against Dinamo Zagreb in the Europa League. Last game of the group, it was a dead rubber. And defender. And it comes from Rice. Oh, that's wasteful.
Poor. Got to be better than that. Knows himself. Never think he looks the most natural in those situations to be taking that. Obviously a fantastic player and he pivotal part of this team now, but just doesn't look a natural for striking those dead balls.
Do they risk bringing on a youngster? Bolster the defence. The other young centre-back there on the bench is Jamal Baptiste, who also played in that Dinamo Zagreb game. The FA Cup debuts for the pair. Oh no, I think Baptiste played against Doncaster last season. Masuaku they can bring on with experience, and he's going to replace Antonio, I think. A little word in the ear from a experienced man in the coaching staff. He's got good football men around him, as David Moyes. Kevin Nolan, been there and done it. Stuart Pearce, Paul Nevin played a role here under David Moyes. Drama. Can he come up with a dramatic finale to this? 3 minutes to go. Somerville. Touch. Got it away. In comes across Harrison. Oh, it's a massive opportunity, but he saw it so late, James. Might have been a slight touch by Dawson to confuddle him in the middle, but it should have been 1-1.
Never got his feet sorted out at all. Never thought it was reaching him. At least they got the four bodies good. Love the fact that he runs to the middle of the box. Oh my goodness, when things are going against you. Dawson makes a horrible mess of it. He just never moves his feet at all. The ricochet could go anywhere, hits the front leg. If ever you want your season summed up, there you go, Leeds United.
It's Vlasic who departs for West Ham United, a wide left player in the Benrahma role. Benrahma out an African Cup of Nations duty, being replaced by Arthur Masuaku. He came on against Crystal Palace in their last game and really struggled against Olesi. And he will play in front of Johnson, doubling up on the left-hand side. They've done that several times this season, West Ham. Double banked on their left, and he's given it away. And they haven't double banked, and they've left Johnson isolated here. Somerville with the run. Pass was a little bit naive, too much pace on it.
Oh, he's done well with that pace that he's got going into the box. And again, be positive. Don't make the pass. Keep going. Just keep running. You see there, he's got that little yard of pace opened up to him. Might just be able to drag that onto his left.
Well, it looks like another third-round exit for Leeds United. Wretched run in the FA Cup continues. In recent years, I mentioned the Newport defeat and Crawley. They went out to Rochdale in 2013-14. Go back to 2007-8. They played Hereford in round 1 and went out. Histon in round 2 the year later and went out. And they were struggling themselves in the lower reaches. Team that reached for the stars and ended up virtually bust. Cornell's Bowen will dummy it. It's come through here to Antonio. Took an extra touch and was dispossessed by Robin Koch, and Leeds United now press for a last-minute dramatic equaliser. Harrison, James is out wide, so who's in the middle for them then? Rafinha is there, young Somerville. But look at the West Ham claret and blue who've poured back and plugged those gaps again. Jama. Somerville wants it's a good run, but the ball had too much length again. We're into 4 minutes of stoppage time.
Yeah, Bielsa can only be positive about his side. Really good defending there, because you have to keep them going. You have to keep that brittle confidence as good as you can make it, but you have to keep to your own style as well as a coach, and you push them again. Such a difficult situation that they find themselves in. A constant test. Be interesting if they're looking for reinforcements as well themselves.
Yarmolenko is going to come on. I would imagine they give this man a bit of a rest in the last 3 minutes of stoppage time. It'll be another cameo role for Yarmolenko. Doesn't look as fit as he should be, and has had fitness issues here throughout his whole time at West Ham, who are under duress now to hold on to this 1-0 lead. The draw between this game and the last tie of the night. West Ham United close to being in there, but close but no cigar at the moment. Lifted into the penalty area by Click, but it was deflected out wide. It's as if West Ham will be through to round 4 for the 7th time in their last 8 years, or will they? Is Somerville jinking? Positive. Might have got a cross in there, does now with the left foot and away by Bowen. Dallas has support. Harrison. Now Forshaw. Outward to young Cody Jama. Tenacity from Leeds. Jama has a look, and it's away off Johnson. Where was this intensity from Leeds United in the final third throughout the game?
Yeah, easy once the pressure's off, but they've managed this last 10 minutes or so, West Ham, really poorly. Well, this boy's been good in the air so far today with his hands. They need him to be absolutely devastating with his head.
It's beyond him, only just. And his opposite number, Areola, big punch clear. Click for Leeds. Can they do it? Can West Ham hold on? Cross back in the middle from Harrison. That's a big and important header away by Souček. Now the counter is on. They look for Antonio. Isolated there with Forshaw. Needs support. It arrives through Bowen. Meslier came. Stayed. No man's land. 2-0. Bowen has put West Ham United through to round 4 of the FA Cup. Yet again, their run at this stage continues. 7 third-round wins in 9. David Moyes relieved. West Ham all smiles. Leeds United heading out.
Well, he's got high standards now, David Moyes. Expects a lot from this group. He'll be pleased with that second goal. He'll be disappointed that it's taken so long. But once again, you look at Antonio, not the goal scorer, but what he brings to this side. It's a great header defensively, but set him off 1v1, and he has the awareness. You see him lift his head here. There he go. He has the little look, and it's a lovely weighted ball. Gives the option, takes the goalkeeper out of play, gives the option for Bowen for the one-touch finish. And there's a man in form who will relish that opportunity.
Got some engine, Jarrod Bowen. 90 minutes for a 9th game in a row, and he secures the victory. Lovely ball, by the way, out by Fornals to set Antonio away. And they've done it. David Moyes might say afterwards it was a bit scruffy at times, but the job was done. Marcelo Bielsa, I'm sure, will say he was proud of his players for digging in there for so long. And his last contribution was to set up the goal. And on comes Yarmolenko. 3 years at West Ham United, he's played 90 minutes 7 times. Cameo role after cameo role, injury after injury. And he won't get time for a touch. He'll get his appearance bonus and the win bonus as a West Ham United player, and win they have with the goal in the first half by Lanzini. Controversial VAR checked, it stood, and then in the dying seconds by Bowen. Worthy win for West Ham, Matt?
I mean, they were comfortable as you can be at 1-0. It'll be a frustrating one. If they win this tournament, it will not be the game they look back on. Sometimes you just have to scrap your way through it, and Leeds now need a head count. Who on earth can you produce to be in that first 11? It's going to get the points to keep them in that Premier League.
They'll be back here next week for that Premier League clash, which is crucial for both of these teams for differing reasons. But West Ham United have the honours from this FA Cup third round tie. Lanzini and Bowen the scorers, and they go through to round 4 and the draw with a 2-0 victory.